I got a lot done today, but I feel completely exhausted. Or how about this one? I was busy all day, but I'm not sure if I accomplished anything. If you could identify with those statements, and I'm sure a lot of people can, this episode is for you. See, business owners don't have a time problem. They have a focus problem. If you're a business owner like me, what I used to do is I would be working on five different parts of my business and wondering why I'm not getting ahead with any of them. When everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. If you just recently started a business, you could understand the overwhelm because there's 100 things to do and all of them are a priority. So if that's the case, I'm going to give you a simple tool to get you on track. I call it the three questions. Number one, what problem are you solving? Number two, who are you solving it for? And number three, how are you solving it? If you can't answer all three of those questions, you're never going to be focused because you really have nothing to focus on. So, focus starts when you decide of what the outcome should be. If you're focused on the outcome, everything falls into place. Welcome to How to Win Big at Business. I'm your host, Joe DiChiara, lifelong entrepreneur, CPA for over 40 years. I've worked with thousands of business owners, and being an entrepreneur myself, I've gone through all the pain and suffering. So that's why I created this podcast for the self-employed professional that is struggling with all of the different obstacles that every entrepreneur faces. So before this podcast episode is over, I'm going to give you five powerful tips that's going to help you get more accomplished without working more hours. You see, when I started, I was a workaholic. I thought if I just put more hours in and worked harder than anyone else, that I would become successful. And the truth is that you don't have to be a workaholic. Today, I live my life. I don't live for my business. I live for my life. My business allows me to live my life. So I'm not putting in 12, 15-hour days all the time. There are days where I do that, but it's not the norm. So picture this. You're in the middle of writing a proposal. The phone rings. It's a client asking you to walk them through something. While you're on the phone, you're checking your email. You see an urgent email, urgent in quotes, from a client that needs an explanation on why they owe taxes. You answer the email, you walk your client through the issue. Before you get back to the proposal, you have to do your podcast. And 15 minutes after the podcast, you have a team marketing meeting. That's insanity, but it's also the norm for most people. So if you think that that's a good way to run your business, then keep doing it. Keep doing it, but I guarantee you, you might be successful, but you're not going to be as successful as you could be. There's a psychologist, and I'm going to read this to you. Sophie Leroy calls this attention residue, and it explains why so much of your focused time isn't actually focused at all. You see, when you're preparing the client proposal, you're in there, your brain is in there. Once the phone rings, your brain is still partially there, but you're in the phone call. And now you're checking your email. So now your brain is partially in the proposal, partially in the phone call, and partially in the email. How would anyone expect to get 100% result in that scenario. And like I said, for a lot of people, that's the norm. So here's tip number one. Before switching tasks, write down where you stop, record the next action, close the document or the tab or whatever it is you're doing, and then deliberately transition. Okay. The next distraction, focus inhibitor is the phone. The phone can be a killer. And it doesn't even have to ring for it to be a distraction. If that phone is by your side, and especially if you have it on vibrate, give you notifications. Every time an email comes in, you hear the ping, you want to check it, you hear it vibrating. Oh, it might be somebody important. You look and it's a spam call. That's taking you out of focus. So here's tip number two. Put the phone in another room. Turn on do not disturb. I don't even know if my phone has a do not disturb. Close all the social media. That's another killer. I didn't even put social media in here, but we don't want to make this a 45-minute podcast. Allow only emergency contacts to go through. So you could put the phone in another room, and I'm sure there's a way to program it so that only certain people could come through, but it doesn't have to be at your desk. Trust me, your phone doesn't have to ring for it to be a distraction. Another tip is stop treating email like it's an emergency room. What I used to do is I thought everybody needed to be responded to as soon as that email came through. No, that there is no. I worked for an accountant once, and he had a quote that I still remember. He said, "There are no accounting emergencies." The only accounting emergency is if an IRS agent is knocking at your door and he has a badge and a gun. That's when somebody should call their attorney. They're not calling an accountant. So the only accounting emergencies are the ones that we make emergencies. So let me give you tip number three. Establish a communication window. In other words, don't be 24/7 on the email. Say, what? I'm going to check my email at 10:30, 2:30, and 4:30. That's three times during the day. That should give you more than enough time to check on all of your emails. And even three times a day, I think, is a lot. Maybe two times should be enough. Think about it. If you check it out at 10:30, you're going to get all the emails that you didn't get to yesterday and anything that came in the morning. And let's say you check it again at 3 p.m. Now you're going to get all the emails that came in during the day. If a client is so impatient that they email you at 3:15 and they expect you to get back to them before the end of the day, that's not a good client. So this is about setting boundaries. So you have the power to set your own boundaries, make your own rules. Now, tip number four, and this is something that one of my favorite clients, my podcast specialist, Vincent Lancy, does is time blocking. He actually does it. He writes his chart out by hand. Okay. And that's another thing. There's powerful proof that when you actually put a pen to paper, you take the ideas and you physically write them. A physical action puts it deeper into your brain. Now, Vincent was a traumatic brain injury survivor, so I believe that that's probably why he writes it out. So he's got for a whole week, he's got his time blocking plan, and it's pretty impressive. And it could be and this is what I do. This is my time blocking technique. And I also have my own handwritten system. It's not like a daily chart. His is over the top, but mine works also. So I know when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do is make my bed, start stretching, make sure that I drink water because I've heard that you drink water with lemon in the morning, it's healthy. And I go through my day, make my coffee, I read the Bible every morning. I have like five other books, short daily reflections that like this, I forget his name now, the guy, the Stoic guy, Marcus Aurelius. I fill my brain with all positive thoughts. Then I'm gonna check my schedule. I go on my Google Calendar, check what's if there's any meetings, client meetings, team meetings that I have to attend to during the day. I keep my to-do list. Again, it's part of my system. I'm going to review that for the day, see if I have to make any changes. I'm going to look at what I didn't get to the day before and maybe reprioritize. Third time block is whatever the big project is for that day. I always have a the number one thing to do for today. So every day it could be I got to get my big tax client done, that project. I have to give my marketing team the whole sales funnel content. But there's always a number one thing that I want to accomplish every day. And another thing that I learned very important is to take 15, 20 minutes every day to just stand up, stretch, take some deep breaths, meditate, whatever you got to do. Some people like to take a nap, but there's always that time during the day where you want to recharge. And that's very important. And the other thing, the same way how it's important to start a day, it's also very important in how you end the day. So what you want to do is maybe block out some time, review what you accomplished during the day, what you didn't accomplish, put it off to the next day, and that becomes the system. And you'll be surprised every time you complete something, you complete a task, the endorphins start running around in your brain, you feel better. That's how you get that sense of accomplishment, and that's how you become successful. The never-ending task list. Now, this is going to be the fifth and final tip, and this comes from one of my mentors, Larry Broughton. He coached me for a long time, and he calls this the 3 Ds. Look at your list, okay? And he calls it the to-do list, not the to-do list, because every time he crosses something off, it's ta-da. So anyway, you mark the task this way. You either do it, you're going to delegate it, or you're going to delete it. Because here's the thing, folks. We, as business owners, it's a never-ending struggle. There's always something. I got to answer all the notices. I got to follow up with the clients. I got to finish the marketing program. But sometimes what happens is a lot of those tasks take care of themselves. And this is not a tip, it's a philosophy. You want to build a team. If you want to scale a bit, and being a solopreneur is fine if that's what you choose to do. A lot of people make a good amount of money on their own. I've seen plenty of them do it, and that's not me. That's not me. My whole life, I've been trying to create a business that ran on its own. And the only way to do that is to build a team. Not only build a team, but build a team and put your team members in a position where they can succeed. And then coach them. Don't just give them a position, show them what they're responsible for, make them accountable, teach them what to do, what not to do. And after a while, you'll have less and less things to worry about. What I've done is I have a VP of marketing, Maria, and she knows what she has to do. We'll strategize. I'll come up with the concept. Hey, let's focus on this market. Another thing, and I'm guilty of this, just like most people. It wasn't that long ago we were trying to run three different sales funnels. And I woke up one day and I said, this is insanity because we're making a little progress with each of them, but I feel like it's going to take us years to actually have the whole sales funnel structured so they could run on autopilot. So I said, what? We're going to focus on this one market. Right now, it's our courses and teaching. And it gave the team, how would I describe it? Like relief. It was like, oh my God, now, okay, great. Now I only have to think about one thing instead of three things. And that works. You empower your people, you put them in a position to succeed. So I'm going to give you a little exercise. We call this the 90-day focus exercise. And this is what I suggest you do. You decide what is the single most important business result that you want over the next 90 days. Decide what are the weekly activities that are going to help you produce those results. For instance, let's say you started a Facebook group and you decide, hey, after 90 days, it would be nice to have 2,500 members. Well, there has to be activities to get those members. It could be inviting people. It could be posting in other groups. It could be doing a live webinar and then inviting people. It doesn't matter, but you have to take some actions. What are you doing right now that conflicts with that? In other words, are there any activities that you're doing that's going to hamper that 90-day focus? For instance, let's say you started a couple of other groups. Well, you can't start three different groups at once. You can, but it's going to be very hard to grow all three of them. Trust me. The three D's, okay? Delay. Oh, here's another one. This is another way to look at it. Delay, automate, or delegate. Okay, automation is another powerful tool. When will the focused work appear on my calendar or in your time block? And then put it into a written statement. Over the next 90 days, I will accomplish this goal by doing this. It's like the definite chief aim that Napoleon Hill created. I created my definite chief aim about 15 years ago, and when I look at it, still have it. It's in my book right back there. You see the binder. That's where I keep my whole system. And the definite chief aim is on the front cover. And basically, it says, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is what the result is going to be. So you could create a 90-day version of that. And after 90 days, look back if you follow that formula and see how much you can accomplish. You will be amazed at how much you can get done in a short period of time. Things that you could never get done before. There's a book I'm going to recommend. It's called The Power of Habit. I forget who wrote it, but it's a very powerful book. When I read it, I realized that our habits, who was it? I think Aristotle said something like, our habits, we are what we do, basically. So create the habits. Don't be a taskmaster. Be a focus master. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. If you like this episode, follow me, and I will be seeing you in the next episode of How to Win Big at Business. God bless. Thank you.